Hey, welcome to another episode of Getting Random with Z Singleton. Today I am so excited because I got my girl here. Yes, I know I'm always excited because everybody that I meet is a beautiful light. And the most precious part of this is that I have known this young woman since she was 14 years old. And our stories kind of collide together and how we met and just kind of where we went from A to Z. Now, we here. Yeah. Started from the bottom, now we have her. So it's Origin Friday. Welcome to the episode, like I've already said to you, because I know I repeat myself, but guess what? That's because my head is randomly thinking of so many things at once, and that's why you get random with me. So her name is DaShona. I'm gonna go ahead and call her Shauna because we trying to be friends here today.
We are friends.
We trying to be friends.
Keep it casual,
Yes. So Shauna can share her last name with you. She can share whatever she wants from this point with you because it's Origin Friday, which means I hand over the mic.
Which last name do I share? No, okay. So,
which congratulations.
Thank you.
Because I know that you just recently got married during the summer,
yes.
which I'm sure you would share along with everything else.
Of course.
So I start off the question usually with, who are you?
What you see is what you get. Who am I? I'm Shauna. It used to be Shauna B. Now it's Shauna O. Braziel-Ofoegbu. A mother, a strong woman, a woman of God, a grandmother.
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm too young for that.
But most women our age are either we got young ones because we decided to do the career, or we have none, or we are now officially grandmothers out here in this world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's
a blessing.
Thank you. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question because I kind of just leave. I'm just myself, and then other people kind of have their own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain that one. So I'm just me. I'm a lot of things.
Okay.
There's a lot.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles, born in Everett, Washington. Grew up in Los Angeles from the age of 3.
Oh, wow.
Been there, been there ever since. Grew up on 42nd and Raymond.
Hey.
You know the story. Yeah, grew up there. That was the main, that was the ground. That was the foundation right there. That's where, I had the stability there. Mm-hmm. But, being raised by a single dad, we were everywhere.
Right.
So we're everywhere in LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
But were you also, did your dad do it all by himself?
He was single dad. He did.
Okay.
That's another story too. That's another story.
Right. Yeah. So what do you feel were some of your challenges kind of growing up?
Well, of course, not having a mother. Growing up with a single dad as a young girl, that's difficult, and I couldn't really put my finger. I just knew it was, it was like I had to be rough around the edges. I had to be tough. I had to fight for my little brother. I had to feed us sometimes. I had to watch out for us. So, growing up with my dad, everything was like, I didn't get the princess treatment.
Right.
So I didn't know what that was.
So what exactly is the princess treatment?
I guess because I fantasized about it a lot. I think I still do sometimes. But
share with us.
Okay, so I consider the princess treatment when you're daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. When the first man in your life shows you how you're supposed to be treated. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How a man is supposed to treat you and care for you. I didn't get that. The soft treatment, the soft life kind of thing. Introduced, I didn't get that introduction at all.
Right.
Yeah, I got treated like the boys. I did. Yeah. So
I'm sure it was really hard for him, trying to balance that out.
And then what I know now, I didn't know then. I saw the stress. I didn't know, when you're a kid, you're just a kid. You're not really taking all that in. You're just a kid and you're dependent, right? So now, as an adult looking back, I know that they did not support single men fathers, let alone single Black fathers.
Right.
And then we were, the way we looked, biracial or multiracial, however, biracial. And he had a hard time with that. And I think he took a lot of stress out on himself, us, and other people. So it wasn't really easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you really want to get into kind of like what your struggles were, because like you said, there were times where you had to like fend for your brother, and I think also you kind of made you did make the statement that, and don't get me saying it that word, because I can't say the word right now. Verbatim. Thank you for looking.
I know. I
got like so many, like, don't let the education fool you. Like, there's just some realities to people, that they just ain't got it.
Right. Sometimes you're on and sometimes you off. That's just life.
I'm off by about 95% of the time.
You and me. And about 80% of the rest of the world. They want to fool you. They just paint the picture,
But so just let me bring us back. I'm sorry. So where you said you had to go out there, sometimes and get stuff for you guys. So like, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
I'm gonna keep it because I don't want to get too deep. But I'll say I remember one real memory that stands out before we got too, up in age, in the preteen age. I had to be probably about 8 or 9. And we lived on Alvarado and 6. And then that was like the little stew pot area. I think that's where the Echo Park and all that is in that area over there. I believe that's what because they had the water fountain and all that. And we stayed above the little kind of a bazaar, like a swap meet area in the apartments. And we grew up, not until I was in my teenage, preteen, like 12, 13, I never had my own room. So we always had like this one box bachelor kind of, place that we lived in. And down below, we would shop at this little, little market that was, right underneath, next to the bazaar. And my dad would... I watched my dad. I was very observant. So I watched my dad, and I remember he would make these like IOU notes to the guy, like, okay, can you give us something until I get paid this, That's when I learned how to forge his signature.
Oh, okay.
That was one year, so I had
Baby girl, don't be afraid to kiss the mic. There we go.
Okay.
So I need you.
So, as I was saying, I had to forge an IOU note. My brother was like, I'm hungry, I opened the refrigerator and literally, I say this as a joke, but it was very serious. It was just tortillas, some corn tortillas in there, and a jar of mayonnaise. Oh, yeah, and so we would sit and we would wait until my dad would get home from work, and whatever he bring, we'd be there waiting like little puppies. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, we had some times where it wasn't as hard, but I don't really remember a lot of good times living with my dad. Really young, it was a struggle. I just remember all of the tough times fighting for my brother. Like I said, the boys bothering him, and Shauna, they messing with me, and I have to fight for him. He's scared, He's hungry, he pulling on me, and so I gotta figure out what we're gonna eat. Like I said, I'm either stealing from the store or I'm forging the IOU notes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So basically, for you, it was, I didn't get the princess treatment. I had to be the survivor for myself and for my brother.
Yeah.
So that's hard, because then it's like you got to be the mother figure, and that's the creation that happens when you are that young and have to do all those responsibilities.
And not having a mother,
Yes.
And trying to, so I'm going based off what I see on TV and what my grandmother would show us from time to time. And then I can't even say his girlfriends, because his girlfriends were real abusive, except one. But yeah, I just went off of what I saw on TV and what my grandmother would do. That was it. Am I close? Hold on. Let me get this right. Okay. Yeah.
So where was the turning point? Because I know that that was a lot of responsibility, which also brings a lot of resentment, which brings a lot of what's the next level? Because survivor mode looks different for everyone, but when it happens, and living just in LA. It's like we all was.
It's a different. You gotta make it through the jungle. You gotta survive.
Because I got stories.
And like I said, I know. And like I said, we grew up everywhere. So imagine, we didn't really fit in anywhere because we uproot from one place to the next.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what it was for me when it came to school. Like I was at 5, 6, 7 schools, and I can't really say to people, they're like, I pinpoint a school. Like they're like, well, where did you graduate from high school? I finally started pinpointing one because I was like, I can't keep. If I say I went to Hamilton, I went to Manual Arts, I went to this school, I went to that school. Like it's just so many schools. Then I got to think about all those schools that were in the middle that don't even have a name.
When you get OT, remember all that? Listen, for elementary, it was pretty stable for me. My grandmother, thank her for that. Rest her soul. But she kept us stable there in elementary. My brother, he kind of went between 10th Street, I think it was, elementary school, on East LA area, I think that was, and then Normandy Avenue, right down, that's down the street. So I stayed there all through elementary. But when junior high hit, that's when it got crazy. That's when it went.
What went down?
My life. That's when all the, I don't want to say excitement, but that's when it got real. I started to rebel, and I think I began to try to find my voice then. I don't know if that makes sense. Like just being sick and tired, struggling, not having, all of that. So, yeah. I remember being transferred, fighting often, getting kicked out, OT from Mary Bethune, Audubon, Fauché, John Muir, John Burroughs, all these different schools, Horace Mann, all of these schools, and then ended up having to go to one of the I can't even remember the name of it now, but the continuation on Crenshaw. The famous one, I can't remember the name of it now, but it had the pictures of the kids on the side of the wall. Anyway.
I thought that was the Challenges Boys and Girls Club.
No, right now next to that. It's a continuation school that was right there. I can't remember the name of it to save my life. I'll remember it.
I think I was there for 2 summers and I didn't pay attention to that.
Listen, I just remember going up and down stairs, and sitting with a big old packet of work to do every day. And then they were like, hey, but she's junior high. She's not high school. Why is she here? But I was kicked out everywhere. So, I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And that was just the anger, I didn't fit in. I was always getting picked on.
Until you said no more?
Until I said, well, see, Ella, let me back that up. Elementary is where that's where I think where I was tested. And like I told you, I fight my brother's fights. But when it came to mine, I was running. I run. I didn't know it was just that was just a different space for me, because it was like, well, he got somebody. You mess with my family, you mess with my friends, people close to me, my kids even now. Something happens. Something turns off and then something turns on.
Right.
But then for me, because I'm not a fighter, you understand what I'm saying? But I fight for who I love. And so when it would come to me, no, I'm not. I'm telling you, I know you. Listen, high school is high school. Okay, but I'm not.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Look, I'm trying. Listen, I'm gonna be as transparent as I can be. I don't want to,
Right.
but that's how it was for me then. I would run. I wasn't a fight. I didn't want to fight. But something, like I said, something would turn off and something would turn on when it was my family. You get me? And then fear went out the window. Junior high school came around, and I was like, I'm looking around, and I'm like, these kids is big, and I gotta really like show them like I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Like if you mess with me, you gonna get the business. So I just, I don't know. I remember the first time I was at Fauché and I got into it. There was a girl, something about some boy. I had no clue who this boy was. I was kind of tomboyish, I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't think I was even somebody was looking at. So,
right.
And I wasn't thinking about that then. I'm trying to survive. I'm thinking about things that I don't think other kids were thinking about, or I don't know. Let me not say that. I was surviving, so I wasn't hung up on boys at that time. And she came up to me. I remember we were walking down them stairs, and she came up to me and she was saying something, and she slapped me in front of everybody. And I remember the kids from upstairs and the kids from down, so, changing classes, and they laughed. I'm like, and I felt everything. I felt like my whole face get hot, and I did something crazy, and I pushed and kicked, and she went tumbling down the stairs. I took off. I ran because I didn't know what was going to happen after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so after that, it was just like I was always in fights, and I felt like, okay, well, excuse me. I don't know. I just felt like, okay, so I could do this. And I was just always fighting and kicked out. Yeah.
So now we've gone to elementary school, we're in junior high school, and we're transferring to different schools. Where do we go from there?
Fauché. I remember when things really took a turn. Okay. When I decided I was gonna ditch. And there was two girls. They were twins, or so they claimed to be twins. I don't know. I don't think they were identical. I don't know. They didn't look identical, but they were sisters, and they kind of talked me into ditching. So we hopped the gate, and we ditched, and that's how I got, introduced to that side over there, Fauché. I don't want to, but that side, the Harlems and all of that.
Oh, so more of like gang affiliated situation. Okay.
So that's how I got introduced to that side over there through them. I mean, it was already in the school because that's right there. Fauché is right in the area. That's the junior high home school for that area, So I saw it around, but I wasn't affiliated, and I wasn't in a clique, and I wasn't associated, you know what I'm saying, just yet, until I started hanging out with them. They talked me into ditching. I ditched, and that's when I was smoking weed, and trying to do what they were doing, drinking, and I ended up smoking, and apparently it was laced with something. And we were in a house, kind of like a duplex, right off of St. Andrews. And what was that? St. Andrews, and I'm trying to think of the name of that street right there. I can't think of it, but it's like kind of like a busy street. And so I remember being in there, and it was 4 grown men, and they were standing in the kitchen area. They were grown, like they were grown. We shouldn't have been with them. They shouldn't have been with us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think something that always happens, and I don't know if people want to admit it, but I think that like when you're already in survivor mode and you in mama mode, and you almost feel grown anyway, so then you start hanging around other individuals that are grown. I don't know how many people in the 90s was probably saying they were one age and they were a whole different whole different age.
I was always 16.
Yeah. We was growner than what we really were. And it's like it I can't say it wasn't necessary because I think that was a
It was
part of the
just part of
survivor.
surviving, yeah. It's
Yeah,
part of the
surviving
surviving and
and
trying to
just
fit in. Like,
fit in
yeah.
and know where your place was. And in the moment, especially during that time, the streets is where you felt like you fit in.
That's it, right?
Or that they were more becoming than what probably like your family life was.
Exactly.
So I completely understand that, but you're right. And I think also that to acknowledge the fact that by not being honest about our age, we also probably got a lot, you know, people could have got caught up over it too. So it's
well, even saying that we at 16, I was still a minor.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And even being that, and they still wanting to be around you, that's when there's shame on them.
Right.
But I can say shame on me because I know.
But we knew better, you know. But when you're dealing with grown-ups, they have more of the brunt of the responsibility.
Right. And I know we look like babies.
And I was just gonna say, now you know, because I look back at my pictures and I go, ain't no way.
I look like a straight.
I look like I was 9 when I was 13. Like, come on,
straight babies. And I mean, babies look like I look at the teenagers that like graduating now from high school. They look like babies. Your boy he still looks like a baby. He may be what, 18?
18,
and he's still a baby.
Fresh. Yes.
Yeah, still fresh, wet behind the ears. Yes, I finally connect that to ... wet behind the ears.
Yes.
So, but okay, so we're in LA off of St. Andrews.
Yeah. Well, I just remember, you know, kind of being there, and I was not. It wasn't something I was used to. I wasn't supposed to be there. I knew I wasn't. The day was going. It was getting dark. I'm in, you know, inside. I'm like, I'm about to be in so much trouble, you know. But I'm trying to hang with what I thought, you know, was the crowd, you know. And I thought I was making 2 new friends, you know. Well, they set me up. They ended up, give me a second. Can't be drinking this tea in this girdle long, girl. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Listen.
Nah, that may be edited out. So
good.
Yeah, so we can take 2 seconds. 1, 2, and then
so you know, I thought they were friends. You know, I was trying to just make new friends, and I ended up. We had been smoking again. I didn't know it was laced. I'm just doing what they're doing. So I find myself kind of stuck. I was sitting on the floor because there was no furniture in here in the place. You know.
Oh, so it was like a vacant apartment. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was a townhouse, and if I can remember, it was like the guy was talking about he had just got the place and he was moving in. He hadn't moved in anything, kind of thing, you know. But see, like I said, they were in the kitchen area, the little kitchenette area, and they were all talking and stuff. But if I was just too young to really be aware of what the danger was and what my surroundings was presenting like in front of me.
Right.
I trusted the girls. I trusted them. They ended up leaving, and I wanted to go with them. And they were like, no, we just going right here. There was a liquor market right there on the corner. Right across, like literally walk outside, walk across the little light. The market's right there. Like, we're coming right back. So I said, okay. I sat there. They never came back. I had to use the restroom because I said, I'm going to use the restroom and I'm about to go home. You know, I'm going to walk home. Yeah. And so I went to use the restroom, and the lights didn't work. I remember the lights not working. But I had to use it. And so I was feeling my way around. And then when I was done, I went to feel around for the sink to wash my hands. And then I went for the door. And when I went for the door, there was somebody there. And I couldn't see who it was. Yeah. And so I just remember begging, crying, fighting. And excuse me. Every time.
No, you know what? This is big right here. And this is why I say have this sometimes because it's just, you know, that, I mean, we're reliving things right now, you know, and
yeah. So I just remember fighting and thinking that I was gonna die. I thought they were gonna kill me. I did. And I was praying. Oh my God, I was praying. And I just fought and I fought until I couldn't. And they were laughing and they thought it was funny. And it was like one after another in the room. And then when they let me go, they told me that if I said anything, they would kill me and everybody. And I do remember the names, but I won't mention anything. I haven't mentioned anybody's names on purpose, so I won't mention names. But
right.
I still remember the faces and everything. But yeah, I remember walking home feeling violated and scared and cold. It was black, it was dark. I remember feeling like that feeling between my legs, like it was like, right. You know, it was just, and I just wanted to be at home. I regretted ditching. I was thinking so many things. And then here comes this car, this guy, this creep. And I'm like, God, please not again. Right. And he was following me. And he was asking if I wanted to go to a party. And I just started screaming, leave me alone. I just started screaming. I was scared. And I'm like, well, at the time I didn't know what to, but another pervert, another pedophile, another creep, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, God, please just get me home. And I finally made it home. And I knocked on my grandmother's door. It was the longest walk home ever. And it was cold. And I just remember when she opened the door, it was about 2 or something in the morning. And I remember her opening the door. And she just had so many questions. And I just couldn't bring myself to say what happened. But I think she knew. Right. You know what I mean? I think she knew. But she just, if I wasn't going to say nothing, she wasn't going to say nothing. Right. You know? And it was just like, where have you been? And I got to call your dad. And this, you know? And I was just dealing with that. And I internalized that for years. You know, and I didn't say anything to anybody. And so that introduced the whole, the real, like dressing like a tomboy, you know, not wanting to be seen, developing a personality where I felt like I had to be really tough around guys. Right. So I kind of made myself where I was more comfortable around men because I felt like if I adjusted a certain way or presented myself a certain way around men, they would not attack me or violate me. You understand what I'm saying? So it would just keep them off of me. It would make them not look at me, you know? And yeah, that's how, that was junior high school, you know, and I think I just got more and more rebellious. I couldn't talk about certain things. Right. My dad was there and he wasn't. I give him his credit. You know, most single black men at that, fathers don't take their children. You know how that goes, especially in LA. But I give him that credit, but he dropped the ball in a lot of areas. Right. A lot of areas. And I never felt comfortable or safe talking to him about things. And, you know, we had our issues. It's just, you know, I just rebelled. I rebelled. And he would kick me out or I would run away. You know, got into the, you know, gang life and, you know, drugs and, you know, not too much doing it because I smoked weed, you know, and I would drink a little bit here and there, maybe a lot of it, but, you know, it just, and then it just got into, to survive, to make money. I went into the whole, like, you know, I wanted to know what it was to sell drugs. So that's what that was. And that's how I survived when I was out there. Because I don't even know how I survived, to be honest with you. It was a lot. It was a lot. Running from the police. Going back and forth to juvenile hall. In and out of foster care and group homes. Yeah, all of that.
So I'm gonna bring us up to date because I mean, there's always the opportunity to bring you back if you ever feel like you want to share more. I mean, that's a lot that you shared right there, and that's like really big because that I think that's one thing that happened is that that individuals end up getting threatened and then they have to hold that in and to have that just that tears your soul, that it drains you, it creates somebody that you probably weren't even meant to be.
That's what I'm saying. Oh God, that's deep. That one hit. That one just hit.
So like I appreciate you sharing that because the part about it though is that it created who you are now. And through the, like you said, going to all these different, and did you do therapy? And
of course, not during that time. Therapy didn't get introduced until later.
Okay.
Yeah. So that didn't get introduced till later. That time I was still like, kind of in a way I was forced. I remember talking to one of the big homegirls. And I told her what happened, and she looked at me like, "Oh, that happened." She's like, "That's it? That happens to all of us."
Nope. See.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what she told me. And I was like, and I was like, okay. And because it was like, I was forced. That wasn't something, I didn't want to be from that or claim you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even live in that neighborhood. But, and then I developed it was like, it became, part of like me. And I carried it with me. And then it was like, because of the fear. I felt like if I'm in and out of jail, if somebody pull up on me, you know how it goes.
Right.
Where you from? Or what, and they, I just felt like that was my life if I didn't, so. Yeah.
So we go to let's bring it up to like maybe possibly high school and graduation and what kind of took place right in that timing for you. I can't tell your story. I know you got quiet on me.
Well, so high school started for me. It started at Aviva, but it started actually in juvenile hall. Okay, so I didn't really start off in high school until I was in juvenile hall. I think I was at Los Padrinos. And you got to go to school when you're there. You remember I'm saying you remember, but I remember how all of that stuff goes. So I just remember, the whole schedule, waking up, showering, eating, school, the outside time, whatever, we have to do our PE or whatever they would call it. And so high school started there. And then I remember getting interviewed. I didn't even know where that was coming from, but I remember getting interviewed. They called me. They said, they called my name. And they made me go sit in the little seating area, whatever.
And this is when you were in juvenile hall, getting ready to switch over to go to.
Because they came, they came and interviewed me there, and asked me a bunch of questions, and I was just like, I had this little rough edge around me, rebellious, kind of like, who are y'all? What do you want? Why are you asking me all these questions? Right. And so I remember the lady, I can't remember who she was. I can see her, but I can't remember who she was. But she said, if you want to get out of here, we'll come back, but we're going to need to see, some improvement.
Right. Who was the person?
She was, they were Jewish. So it was some lady kind of like, who she reminded me of? Remember the principal?
Mrs. Madison. Was it Madison?
I don't know if that was her name, but
I think
she kind of reminded me of
elementary school
I
principal.
don't know.
I keep getting it
but
wrong.
She kind of just she was Jewish. She had this like kind of that look, the suit on. Her hair was about like right here. She was middle age, if I can remember that. She's about 40 maybe, something like that, somewhere around there. And then but there was two people, and it was a guy, so they had to make all the other girls like leave the area where we would sit for lunch because he was a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And then I was having the interview. So I don't know who they were because I never saw them once I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, she just asked me a bunch of questions, like I said, and she told me, get yourself together. Let's see some improvement. We'll be back in like 2 weeks. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had my demeanor was really like, I don't care, like I don't care.
I remember that stage.
Yeah. So I grew up and so she said, if you want to get out of here, she's like, otherwise you're gonna be here till you're 18. I was like, I started counting. I was like, oh, I can't do this up here. I don't want to, And so I did. I kind of straightened up. I remember there was a lady named Miss B in Los Padrinos, and she was cool with me, and she was always like, "All right, Brazil," And so I kind of got cool with her, and she would let me make phone calls home on the office phone, things like that. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to use a pay phone or collect calls, anything, Mm-hmm. But she was like, if you tighten up and you do what you got to do, and you don't get in no trouble, I'm gonna put in a good word for you, Right. And she did. So when they came back, they interviewed me. They were like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Mm-hmm. And so they told me, well, we're here to take you and, get yourself prepared, get ready. And I went in, I packed up my room, got everything, wasn't nothing to take with me, but, I just packed up, I had to. And they walked me to the front where they book you in and they book you out. So I remember doing all that and then riding in the van, looking out the window like, I was just out here in these streets, like reminiscing. I remember that. And I was like, I'm wondering where they're going to take me. And then I get there and I'm like, I'm looking, what is this place? And so when I get in there, I'm looking around and I'm like, and what stood out to me was the pipes on the ceiling part of this place, of Aviva, right? Mm-hmm. It stood out. And I was like, wow. So, and I was just, I don't know, it had to grow on me because I wasn't feeling it. I just didn't want to be in LP no more. I'm telling you, I was like, okay. So, and then I was contemplating all kind of things. I'm AWOL. I was contemplating all kind of, and I don't know what made me stay. I did AWOL once, but.
So all the technical words that she is using, AWOL, Aviva. So basically, Aviva, it was, because I think it has changed a little bit since. Yeah. They are still a school, and they are they care for women and children now.
I think they've expanded.
And they still have group homes there, mm-hmm. But it basically, Aviva is a girls' home that started as a children's home way before we were born. Mm-hmm. I don't have history. I'm just trying to give you a little update of what it is. Mm-hmm. And also, in the 90s, it definitely was a girls' home. Mm-hmm. And school, all in one little pink, big, building. Scary building. And also, AWOL, for those who don't know, means escape.
Mm-hmm. Without permission. Leaving the premises without permission.
You're unaware of what you think you are doing, but yes, you are walking out those doors.
Right. Exactly.
No one's stopping us. So that's what that means.
And I think, isn't AWOL, AWOL, it's an acronym.
It's an acronym.
Okay.
Don't ask me what it is, because
I don't either. I don't know.
Random stuff.
Absolutely right. Me too. I just remember that. If that is really what it is, I remember. Anyway, but yeah,
look at my whole brain just went into like I'm about to start thinking of words that can go together. But luckily, I ain't that person that knows big words like that.
No.
So it gets as big as abbreviated,
right?
Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Let's get back to this. Mm-hmm. So we're at Aviva, and you have some life-changing moments. You realize that you want to stay and grow.
Yeah.
What is something that really benefit you, because I think sometimes we think that all homes are like bad
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And reality is that it sometimes is where you're at within yourself, and God puts people in your life.
Yes.
And not every single staff that is working, even though yes, we all need to earn paychecks because we have to pay bills and stuff, is they're all just for the paycheck. Because honestly,
you
they
have to
need
be
raises.
you have to be called. You have to do that.
You have to be called, and they need, and those who are not meant for it will
they'll wither away.
Yeah, they'll wither away pretty quickly. And those who are meant for it and are meant to stay for a while will stay for about 20 years, 14 years, or whatever, until the next part of their life
next
comes.
call.
The next call comes, or they say, y'all children is off the chain. I'm done.
Girl, I'm telling you. Yeah,
F them kids.
Right. That's the new slogan these days, But I'm gonna tell you what it was. I was tired. Right? I was tired, and it was the relationships that it's like almost instantly that I began to build and bond. You understand that just happened. It took me to adjust to the environment, the rules, but it was the structure. They say that all children desire, even in they desire, they yearn, they want structure, stability, discipline. They want that. And as much as I was just like, because that's just what I knew for some years, I wanted that. Like my soul was really like, yearning for that. And so as tough as I seemed on the outside, I was a little teddy bear. I was cotton candy on the inside. I really was. And I didn't want people to see that. I did not want nobody to see that. I was very vulnerable.
Right.
On the inside. That's why I think that things would trigger me and I would just tick, tick, boom. But can I mention certain people?
You can mention who you want to mention.
Well,
I never said you couldn't.
Listen. I'm all like, I'm not going to mention names. I'll just say that there were staff. There was one in particular. I think everybody knew. I got really close to. But there were staff members, but more it was the girls that I had grown bonds with there. There was, a few of them. Right. And just knowing, kind of looking around and seeing that I wasn't the only one that maybe wasn't the same story, but we all had similarities. We were all trying to figure
it out. Yeah. We were all hurt.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't think I just realized that right then and there. It was resonating some kind of way, but it didn't go click like it can now. Right. In hindsight, like I can really go back and like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Truest thing they ever say is that plant the seeds. Don't get mad if they're not doing what you think they should do. Right. Plant the seed, know that it will grow. Right. And all those things that you put out there, they will remember at some point. Something's going to happen where there's a click. Yep. Now, there ain't no clicks, then there's other things happening. But there is always that click that happens to make you remember something that someone said, from your mama to your daddy to that friend. And in that minute, you may be like, whatever. Because we all do, whatever. I respect those who are able to take advice from the beginning and run with it.
Right. Because a lot of
really
us
received it. Yeah.
It took some years.
I didn't receive a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna just let me be honest with you, because I feel like it's much. Everybody's family has some issues, but the one thing that I can say that was very grounded, it was even instilled. As much as it wasn't stable, but knowing who God is, knowing who God was, having the scriptures embedded into, and recited, things like that, knowing that I had a praying family. I know my grandmother did for sure. You understand? I know she did for sure. And I think that also, once I got to Aviva, I was at a point where I could get quiet enough when I be in my room. I remember when I first got my room. You understand? when I first got my own room, because you come in and you gotta share one with like two other girls or three. I don't know, I can't remember. But I remember I got my own room and it was like, oh, I have my own room. And that was the second time in my life. I told you I never had the chance of having my own room until I was about 13 or so, 12 or 13.
So now we know, like, you had your experience at Aviva, you met staff, you met female, who are now women,
right.
That really made you stay where you are. So let's go into adulthood, like what that looked like right after graduating from high school, and because that's a whole nother battle.
Yeah, that was another battle. That was another stage that I had to conquer and get through. And oh my God. So after high school, right before high school ended, I met my oldest child's dad. And he, of course, transitioned to the after high school graduation, all that. And so we were together for, I think it was like 4 years total. 3 or 4 years total. I got pregnant. He was one of them street dudes. I was around that growing up all over the place. And so I had this, it was like, this impression, that I had at a young age of what a guy would, a man would look like. He was tough, he was mean, he was hood, he was, street, right. He was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we love them bad boys.
The bad boys. So, I mean, I saw I saw that and that attracted me to him. And I was just like, ooh, head over heels. And so, had my first. Of course, that relationship ended. He was what comes with that. The right. territory, I mean, the cheating, the sleeping around, the abuse, all of that. And I ended up going back to stay with my dad for a short period of time. And that was like where I experienced the worst depression. I never knew depression could get that bad. That was dark. That place was dark. I don't even like talking about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was so dark. For about a good 6 months. And I was just in the dark. Trying to raise, when I say in the dark, I mean I'm shutting blinds, I'm blacking out the window. Yeah. It was dark. It was so dark. I know, listen, it was dark. And
I'm smiling because I completely know where that goes and how deep it gets. Yes. And to be able to pull yourself out that hole, it's just like
that's like, woo, listen, okay, woo, honey.
But the best part about it though is that once you're out, when those moments start to come again, you know what to do, you know where to go with it, and it will hit you in different ways, like to the point where you're just distorted. Your thoughts are just all over the place. You're like, oh, did I talk to you? Oh, when did we? Like you just miss stuff, and it's like it's time to catch it because I know where this is going. And
thank you. Okay, one more time because you understand.
You understand.
A lot of people don't understand, or they weren't aware enough to take that and bring that with them so that they know, okay, I'm not doing that. And that's exactly because I'm telling you.
Take heed.
I've been through something, but I said I never go back there again. It was so dark. I cried every day, every night. I remember my daughter. She was 9 months old. And she got up on my lap. I was sitting on the edge of the bed. She got on my lap. She straddled me. Boom. She's sitting like this. She grabbed my face. She wiped my tears. Mommy, 9 months old. This blew my mind. Because she would say little words. She was advanced a bit, but she say little words. She didn't ever make no complete sentences. Anyway, so she straddled me and she was like, Mommy, Jesus said it's gonna be okay. I won't ever forget that. I'll never forget that. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Right.
Because I sat there and I was on the bed and I was like, and I'm literally looking around the room. This dark room, blacked out room, I'm going, okay, God, like this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Not too long after that, my dad came. You know, he got knocking on my bedroom door, and he's like, "Sean's," that's how he called me.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to do something. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can't keep doing this. This has gone on too long.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me an ultimatum. He's like, either you gonna come up out of here, or I'm gonna have to make you leave. I was it, girl. Whatever them demons was, that depression,
Mm-hmm.
that thing want to fight with you. You understand me? I was
Mm-hmm.
not trying to leave. I went outside. He finally got me to go outside. He said, "Listen," I told him. I said, "Daddy, I'm scared."
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. I broke down. I was like, "I'm scared," and so he said, "All right, listen, just come with me. I'm gonna take you to lunch. We're gonna go right up here to the little taco, place right here on." We stayed on 97th and Normandy then.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little taco place on the corner. I think that was Normandy and Imperial. And we went up there. We was in his little truck, the truck my grandfather used to have. He gave it to him, the little blue one. I don't know if you remember that blue truck, but we went up there, and I had Daisy with me, and we sat there, and I was looking around. Girl, when I walked out them doors, my heart, I felt like everything was like, I couldn't even tell you, but I know what it's called. It's called agoraphobia.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten afraid of being outside. The world was too big.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was scared. I never felt that feeling ever in my life. And I was like, he said, we'll just take it a little bit at a time. So we went out to eat, and I'm just looking around. And I was like, it's enough. I need to go home. Can we go home?
Right.
And so he took me home, but we sit and talk, and he would pull me out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, girl, I want to cry. So keep it in. I'm gonna keep it in.
No, girl, you ain't gotta keep it in. I mean, this is real stuff, and it's just at the end of the day, because what I hear is that basically, like, yes, there were hard times that when you were growing up for your dad, but then and still giving him big ups props for the fact that he raised a little girl and a little boy by himself. And now you're an adult, and now he's showing up in that other way for you.
He was trying.
Yeah.
He was trying. There was that moment, I think he did the best he could do, and he did a good job right there. And I don't want to take nothing from that, because he did help pull me out of that. There were just some moments. It was like it was weird, because sometimes he would, like, where he was good at that, then he would just, drop the ball almost immediately. Right. In other areas after, and I don't want to get in, because he's not here no more, and I don't want to get into all that. I'm not going to bash him.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. So, I don't know, but I mean, I kind of I found myself in this cycle of choosing the wrong type of man. Mm-hmm. And I'd find the same man, different face. Mm. I find the same one, different face, running, thinking that I could give myself and start a family and give my family what I did not have. Right. I didn't even have the tools. Mm. But I'm going based off of movies and sitcoms and the TV dads and moms. Mm. And that's what I have, the image in my head. Right. Not even, And so I found myself in one abusive relationship to the next. I did that 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. Four, let's be exact. And so that was, there's so many details in between all that stuff. Right. So what I'll do to sum that, I want to ask you, how did you get, because there are women today, there are individuals today who are still, suffering and not knowing how to walk away from these relationships that pull them down. Yeah. So, and it's not easy. I know it's not easy, because for whichever your reason be, because I can go there with so many reasons why it's not easy. Right. So, but what helped you to say, this is it, enough's enough? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very transparent. It took time. It took the experience where when they tell you a woman, she always knows, and when she's had enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was that.
Mm-hmm.
I kissed the mic a little too hard. It was that. It was that. So it was, and then let me not take away from a lot of people that God will put in my life, in my path, from time to time, be it people who stayed, and then some that were here and then they've gone, But there was a lot of the pain. I got tired of the pain, and I got tired of the embarrassment that came with that. I got tired of looking at my kids, looking at me, and then my oldest two, now they growing up, because I got 3 younger ones now, and they're like, I'm seeing where I done dropped the ball, and I'm seeing how it's affected them. You know what I mean? So, I would say, don't be too hard on yourself. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated. It's hard. That's the hardest thing when you're going through that kind of stuff. You got to be the first person,
right?
To
And how do you know how to be treated? Like at the end of the day, like
you know how you don't want to be treated.
That's the truth.
You know how you don't want to be treated, so you do the opposite. And you got to come outside of yourself, though. First, you got to walk outside of that door, that space,
right,
that you become accustomed to and comfortable being in, picking these familiar. You understand what I'm saying? I was comfortable with that because I was comfortable with surviving men growing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, I'm not gonna say I was comfortable, but that had been something I was introduced to, and I had to. Ray grew up with me.
Right.
So I think that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. And I'm sure many
it's a lot.
others will too. Yeah. So I just, I want to know, what is it now that you do that really helps you with like just surviving and like you said, you have younger children and just everything.
Reconnecting back to God, my higher power, the word, prayer. I'm gonna be honest, because I was brought up, even in the mess of things, as a child, that was still introduced, and that was like a foundation, and that really did sit with me. Even I would find myself growing up, and through all these stories I could tell you, there was pivotal moments where God would be like, I'm right here. You understand what I'm saying? Girl, Lord, don't let me start shouting. Listen. Girl, listen, I'm telling you. And so, he just would get me in these places where I would have to be quiet, where it was still, where I couldn't do nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And only he know how to do that. Right. You can try to find it. You can call 1 million people. You can knock on 1 million friends and, oh, hey, come, let me, and try to, you can drink it away. You can party it away. I mean, all these things, and it's just a Band-Aid, a temporary Band-Aid, and it will just resurface, and I'll find myself every time. And he's consistent. He's patient. He doesn't change, and I was just like, God, I'm sorry, and I just got to, and I'm still on that journey. It's not, but it has helped me to heal a lot of pain. It has helped me heal a lot of pain. My husband, he's such a good man, and that's God. I had to understand that what I was getting is what I was praying for, in a sense. And I did not know how to pray for what I wanted. So I was praying from the outside in of what I wanted my man to be, or my husband, you understand? And then I had to, it was like this thing, I was downstairs. It was like this thing was just like, it clicked, and I was like, I've been praying the wrong way. I'm supposed to be praying from the inside out. The man I want from the inside out. And he has to be first. He has to be lined up with God. Right. And then boom, things just started to align a certain way. And honey, I wasn't expecting, right, the journey that I'm on now with my husband, but he is patient. You be laughing. Oh, he's patient with me. I love him to death. He's very patient with me, and he then God really did make him to be able to deal with me and everything I've been through, because one minute I'm here, one minute I'm there, and then he knows how to ground me and center me, like bring me back and remind me, okay, listen, so I have to give God that, because he created us all, he created everything. So um, that's what is helping my children, seeing them every day. And they're happy, like, Mommy, you're happy, you're this, because they've seen me. They've seen me. So that gives me the encouragement. That gives me that power, that boost, even when I'm tired, because life is tired.
Yes,
adulting is tiring.
Ridiculous.
So, but they give me, that's pretty much what it is. It's God first and everything else the way I said it.
And what's your self-care?
My self-care is, I'm telling you right now, peace and quiet. That's just, and pray. I'm telling you, listen, I can do my nails, I can get my hair done, I could go out and sit down and have, mimosas and, some brunches and chill and laughing. It's me time, literally, like just peace and quiet. Having quiet and peace in my home, wherever I'm at, oh man, that's like the best thing for me, that's my self-care. Of course, all the other little things, but if I can get my mind quiet, it's the best. That's the best.
So I know that you also have your business that you're working on. So you want to share with them what your business is?
Okay, so I'm still building it up. God is getting me through it. The name of my business and the brand is Halisi. Sorry, I always say this wrong. Halisi. It's an acronym. And it took some years to get for that to come to me. And so it just kind of fell, kind of fell in my lap one day as I was just doing some things in my room. And AM is an acronym. Am, like I am. You understand? So that's a statement right there. But it's also an acronym meaning always me. Halisi is Swahili, and that means authentic, genuine, real. You understand? And so that just all came together for me. And I don't know. I'm feeling like God wants me to go another direction. But right now, what I'm feeling is, just I have hats and things like that, my hats and shirts and whatnot, that I started kind of, and got preoccupied with other things. So I have to restart, get back into that. But also creating journals and coloring books and, things like that. And I'm feeling like there's another direction, that I might be going. Haven't really figured it out yet, but it's coming together.
Hey, you know what? We only got this one. We got this one life, and whatever comes to your mind, that direction, you're not hurting nobody, and it doesn't affect anybody.
But support me, y'all.
Yeah.
Look, when I'm popping, listen. Remember, Halisi is gonna be a household name.
Was it IG? Where
it's I'm on Facebook and I'm on TikTok and of course YouTube. Facebook is DaShona Ofoegbu. Simple. That's my married name now. So, and then let me spell that because that's Ofoegbu. Because it doesn't sound like the way it's spelled. My TikTok is classy_inner_G. YouTube is just DaShona O. That's it. So,
and that's where you're selling your product.
That's where they will be.
And,
TikTok
and with TikTok also, she does give a lot of inspirational quotes and verses, and I think that can be really positive. So
I'm trying to build my content on TikTok. I'm trying to get my personality and my whole thing out there. So y'all follow me. Look, I'm trying to keep it positive. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Yes, thank
and
you.
sharing your story. The big thing about Origins is that it's only your story is not an hour long. It's always
Oh
longer.
yeah, yeah.
So having to sum it up, you know.
There's much more to tell. I mean, if you will have me, if there's, I'm always
Right.
available.
So I want to thank you all for joining me on another episode of Getting Random with Z Singleton. And I just want to say, have an amazing weekend and be safe. Or whenever you watch this, because you may not watch this on Fridays, but tune in with me next Friday as I have another guest, another story, another random moment, or maybe we're just having expertise. Who knows? It gets random up in here. Stay safe, share love, and just be random. Bye.